Back in 1994, Toyota released the original RAV4. It was a small, compact, fun little three-door SUV. Everyone loved it. But over the years, it's grown up, got larger, heavier, and more sensible. So it's quite a large, family-friendly SUV today, which means that people look back and go, why, Toyota, don't you create something like the original one? And that's what they've gone and done with this, the new Yaris Cross. And here's the carwow top 10 things you need to know about it. Let's start off with the name. You see, Toyota's naming convention is a bit muddled. So you've got the RAV4 and the CHR for its SUVs. So RAV4 stands for Recreational Activity Vehicle, and the 4 obviously is for four-wheel drive. CHR, you've got Coupe High Rider. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But then you've got it resurrecting old names like the Supra and of course the Corolla, which they called the Yaris, which was the Corolla before it. And then with this car now, they've just been lazy and gone, oh, we've got a Yaris, which is small, let's just call the SUV-ish version the Yaris Cross. Maybe they should have been more daring, a bit like Ford has been with the Puma. While it might be called the Yaris Cross, Toyota hasn't been lazy and just taken a Yaris and just raised it up slightly on its suspension. It looks completely different. In fact, it's quite a striking vehicle. Now, I don't know what you think about Toyota's latest design, but you can't say that they're boring. They're definitely unique. It does, of course, have the usual kind of things that you see on small SUVs, like a contrasting black roof, because obviously you can charge a little bit extra for that, can't you? But what do you think of the design? Would you rather have this little Toyota or a Ford Puma, a Peugeot 2008, or a Volkswagen T-Cross? Click on the pop-out banner up there to vote which you think looks the best. The Yaris Cross sits at the bottom of Toyota's SUV range, so it's slightly smaller than a CHR. It is based on the Yaris, though obviously it's slightly longer, it's wider, and of course it's taller. You actually get 30mm more ground clearance, so it should be a bit better for going on rough terrain than a normal Yaris. The car itself is actually still slightly smaller than something like a Nissan Juke or a Peugeot 2008, and Toyota hasn't really discussed just how big its boot is, though it has revealed that it has an automated tailgate which you can open by waggling your foot underneath, so you can open it hands-free if you've got arms full of shopping or whatever. And if you fold down the rear seats, you can fit some skis in there or a bike. Toyota pioneered hybrid technology with the original Prius, and they're all about hybrids these days. And that's why you're only going to be able to get the Toyota Yaris Cross as a hybrid. That will mean it gets good economy though. How much exactly? Well, Toyota hasn't revealed that yet, but you should be able to expect it to do easily over 50 miles per gallon. Unfortunately, the inside of the Yaris Cross is nowhere near as exciting as the outside. In fact, it is just very much like a normal Yaris. And while there are some metallic-y bits of trim about the place, there's nothing exciting. You can't get like a big, bright coloured panel on the dash like you can in something like a Volkswagen T-Cross to liven things up. So it's all just a bit, oh gosh, yeah. Still, there's some good news about the infotainment system. You can get it with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now, traditionally, Toyota never fitted those options to its car's infotainment systems, but finally, it's on board with them, so you can get your mobile phone hooked to the car properly and use its system instead of the car's, which is always better. We know that, don't we? Whenever a manufacturer designs a new car, they like to create a new colour for it as well, one that's vibrant and eye-catching and looks great in the press and marketing material. In fact, from the press material for this new Toyota Yaris Cross, Toyota say, looking at the future of colour trends, we can see a growing tendency for gold and other precious metals, but we wanted to offer something a bit more natural and urban. So what they did, they took gold and added some green to it to create what's called brass gold. Now here's an interesting nerdy fact for you. When Toyota released the original Yaris about 20 years ago, that also had a similar colour gold, though then they called it flame gold. A lot of these new small SUVs are all show and absolutely no off-road go. You can't get many of them with four-wheel drive at all, they're all just front-wheel drive. That's not the case though with the new Toyota Yaris Cross. You can get an all-wheel drive version. It uses another electric motor in the back to power the rear wheels. Now don't get too carried away and think you can follow a Land Cruiser off-road, because you definitely can't. You will get stuck. But if the going does get a bit slippery, you've got that extra traction from the back to help you keep going. The Yaris Cross uses a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine, which works together with an electric motor to power the front wheels. Combined, they deliver 116 horsepower, so it should be nippy enough, but not exactly quick. though of course that little electric motor will give you a little bit of a boost when you're pulling away, so it should be okay for nipping through traffic. If you fancy a Toyota Yaris Cross, I've got some bad news for you. You're going to have to wait a year until you can get your hands on one because they're not going on sale for about 12 months. In terms of pricing, Toyota hasn't announced it yet, but considering the normal Yaris hybrid costs around 20 grand and the SUV's Commander Premium, it's probably going to start from around £25,000. Toyota has already proclaimed that its Yaris hatchback will be the safest compact car on the market, so it stands to reason that the Yaris Cross should be very safe as well because it's based on the same underpinnings and at the same factory. So it should get kits such as lots of airbags, auto emergency braking and clever cruise control which can brake, accelerate and steer to keep you in lane.